Good morning, students. Now, moving towards part 4 of chapter 20, Disaster Management. In this part, we are going to discuss about the riots. See, when the peace of any region or any area that has been disturbed by what violent activities of a crowd, that is called riots. And riot is very common across the world. And see, if we come closely, the general characteristic of any riot, we can find out that most of the persons who are involved in the riots are unaware of the actual purpose or means the root cause of the riot. They are unaware of all these things. So such people are present just to make large crowd and to spread havoc among them. And see, such crowd gather without any common purpose. They don't have any kind of a common purpose or interest, or they just want to disturb the peace of the society. And see, such riots also upset the administrative setup and laws and other, and they also upset other people also. At the time, such riot takes political turns and turns in the revolt as they get transferred. See, when this riots, they take in the political turns, and that turns revolts into what revolt, or when they get transformed into a communal rights. And see, it then risks the social well-being and harmony of the people. Innocent citizens, they suffer due to such riots. Daily wages earner who are earning for a daily wage, they face huge problems as they cannot go out to work. Riots damages property also, and at the time they cause to death and injury. And when we talk about the national integrity and unity, that comes at a risk due to this riots. And see this when we discuss about the rights and the problem that have been faced by the countries in the world, and now it creates, see, this rights, they creates one type of a challenge to maintain the unity and integrity of the nation. Now things to do, the things what should be done during riots: prevent talks that can spread rumor and violence. Form a peace committee. You have to form a peace committee in where your residential area which is there, and to be actively involved in that. Perform your civil duties also by helping who are those who are affected by the riots. And the things which not should be done is that do not spread rumor. You should not spread rumors, and do not be violent. The instruction or curfew that has been declared by the authority for maintaining laws and orders. And also do not believe and spread baseless talk appearing in social media. So you need to take care of all these things and should not be done during riots. So this was about the riots. Now when we talk about see the terrorists, then when we talk about all these things what should not be done, terrorists sometimes hijack a bus, train or a plane. They can hijack anything, and they demand to meet with the releasing their accompany. They want, their demand is there to release someone from the jail or for other demands also. They bring pressure by taking out the passenger as hostage. See, in this circumstances, when this circumstances arise, the family members of the person, who are the members, family members of the person, they who are the members of the family members, they take the hostage, should maintain peace and support the working of the administration. See, in such instance, when we talk about such instances, plans and implement it to believe to relieve the citizen either by commando operation or through the talks with the terrorist. So this was about the terrorist and rights. Now when we talk about the traffic problems, see, we know it's a major problem, traffic problems. And see, when there is an extreme conjunction of vehicle on the road and the traffic moves at a very slow speed, that is called traffic jam. And traffic jam is very common phenomena that is occurring quite it is occurring very quite frequently in all the big cities of the world. And traffic almost halt during park hours, that is office opening and closing hours, peak hours, what we say. People also get stuck in the vehicles, and even pedestrians face mental stress in this. And sometimes we can see the jam that gets settled, whereas many times as it can take a lot of time and efforts for corporation to control the traffic, and they bring the normal mode. See the vehicular, that the smokes and the horns that causes air and noise pollution, and the level of pollution also affect the growth of vegetations in that area or in that region. And when we talk about the urbanization is the root cause of the traffic jam, we can see the traffic jam in mostly major in urbanization. Vehicle remains stuck in a large queue. See, at the time when the health of a person in ambulance who is stuck, the person who is in the ambulance and in a queue become very critical for that person, and they even die also because of this traffic jam when they cannot reach to the hospital in a proper time. When the traffic increases, people start driving more rashly to come out of the jam. So they ignored all the types of traffic rules, and they cause severe accidents also sometimes, and then sometimes may lead to a death. And when we talk on the other hand, traffic jam is lesser on the highways. Still several accidents that takes place. Why? Due to the over speeding and overloading vehicles. That's why accidents occur in highway. On highway we can see. And traffic jam also result in the wastage of time, fuel and efficiency. So this was about the traffic jam and what steps should be taken to avoid traffic jams. Now we will see that. See the when there is an extremely conjunction of vehicle, when all the vehicles have been stuck, and see township the taken to the steps to taken avoid to traffic jam is what, when there is a extremely conjunction vehicle on the road, and it becomes very and it becomes for the vehicle to move very slowly, that is called traffic jam. And when the townships should develop in such suburban areas where on the large cities, and they should be connected with the city and the public transport system. See the other thing, the footpath for pedestrians and separate track for cyclists should be made. See the two separate, they should make the track for cyclists also and for the pedestrian who are walking on the footpath. And encroachment should be removed from the roads. Vehicles that move very slowly, or those have been the things that which have been pulled by the animals or hands, should not be allowed to move during the peak hours. See that it creates traffic jam. Public should not should made be aware about the traffic rules. They should know about the traffic rule, how through advertisement, hoarding and awareness programs, so that public can to know about the traffic rules. People going to same school, college, jobs, business should share their vehicle rather than using individual vehicles. See, they should have a carpool or sharing between the vehicles if they are working in the same college, school or job any. So people having car can accommodate 4 to 5 person in one car using the sharing sim, that is called carpool system. And also the digging road buildings and repairing work on the road should be completed as fast as possible, because that leads to a major traffic jam, so that should be taken care. And when we talk about uh, people should adapt practice or of taking out marriage or the procession during lean hours rather than the peak hours, so traffic jam won't be much. And during the time of jam, that is traffic jam, one should maintain vehicle in one lane. They should walk in a one lane and not jump from one lane to another. And also the infrastructure should, such as express highway, overbridge, flyover, ring road, and bypass road should be well developed. And every working or school college going person should compulsory use public transport at least once a week. They should use a public transport once a week. And another thing is safety measures such as wearing helmets and putting a seat belt should be strictly followed. This should be followed because you can during accident, if you have worn a helmet, it will help you out. And the people who drink and drive, or who do not have license while driving, or who drive recklessly and violent traffic rules should be heavily penalized. They should be penalized for it. So these were the things that should be taken care, and the things that should not be done to avoid traffic jams are what? uh, do not violate traffic rules. We should follow the traffic rule. It means that very old vehicles should be banned because smoke pollution it arises. um, Goods transportation through heavy vehicles should be allowed only during early mornings and night hours, so there won't be a traffic jam. Traffic signal boards or a symbol should be not be damaged or covered with sticker, poster or anything, so it can be visible. Vehicles should not be modified, as modified vehicles may cause more noise or air pollution. And cell phone should not be used while driving. See, while driving we should not use cell phones. One should not drive without wearing a helmet or seat belt. See, we should wear helmet and seat belt while driving. That is safety for us only. And do not talk on mobile or listen any kind of music through earphones while crossing railway crossing, so you won't be able to hear the train arrives at, so it should not be worn where there is a railway crossing. And do not fight or argue with people deployed for controlling traffic. See, they are taking care of it, and we should not fight or argue with them, so cooperate with them and follow the traffic rules. So this was all the things should be done, should not be done, and should be done we have discussed here of the traffic jam. Now we will discuss about all the impacts. See, when we say all these things, traffic jam, the see the doors, when we talk about do not in this the not to be done, they have said as do not be violent, do not transport exist, number of passengers also are more than pre-decided, or weight, any there should be no more, not more weight in a vehicle. See, then also do not drive a vehicle without putting seat belts and helmet. And a pedestrian crossing rails or a road should not use earphones or cell phones, that is mobile phone. And also they have said us that do not join a mob due to your that is all these things should not be done that obstacles the traffic, the relief of the safety and the peace of and it can occur any kind of an accident. So do not use vehicle which are extremely old also, and which can create more pollutions. Always avoid musical horns. See, there should be not more musical horns which produce a very loud sound, and that is beyond permitted decibel level, so it is noise pollution, it occurs. The doors must not be open while driving. When you drive, the door of the car should not be opened. The driver should not violate traffic signals during the night or when the traffic is negligible, so should follow the traffic rules, everything. Children should not be allowed to play on the road or in the area which are frequently more traffics. So children should know all these things and they should not be allowed to play on the road. And do not drive after consuming drugs and liquor. Having a liquor, then you should not drive, or any type of drug medicines you had it, then also you should avoid driving. So that was about what not to do. And now we will discuss that is about the impact of disaster on human life. See, the disasters affect the human in almost in almost everybody, but its maximum ill effects are felt by what, by the poor and the underprivileged people. So the effect of disaster can be grouped. They have been grouped into four categories. See, all the disaster affect most almost everybody, but the poor and underprivileged people, they suffer maximum in them. And the effects of disaster can be grouped. They have been grouped into four categories, and they are: effect on relief. See, first of all, will we talk about that is on the relief, that is a physical effect. That is, disaster can cause a heavy damage. They can cause heavy damage to a total loss of both movable and immovable property. Infrastructure such as road, railway, bridges, electricity, gas lines, telecommunication, etc., they get heavily damaged uh, because of the all this in the human, all these disasters. And moreover, they cannot be restored immediately. And disasters like flood, they destroy the fertility of agriculture crops that is grown on the land. Forest fire also destroys several trees and plantations, and all these cannot be retained. They cannot be retained easily, and sometimes even cannot be retained. So it is all are the effects that are on the relief. And when we talk about the effect of all this on human life, all this disaster, see, many people either die also due to the disaster, or they become permanently handicapped. The health is very common citizen Detroit's. And see, people who lose their relatives, friends, and they feel extremely depression and traumatic situation. So it is very difficult for them to come out of it, to come out of such type of situation. And see, if the elderly people or children, they lose people on which they are dependent. See, their life is dependent on whom, and then their situation becomes worse, so they cannot support themselves. So it is very difficult to rehabilitate them. And the people also lose physical, mental, and emotional balance in life. So this was all the effects on human life. And when we talk about the effects on economy, see, government and other organization need to spend a huge sum of rehabilitates the affected people who have been affected for these disasters. So it affect the routine developmental work, and due to all the shortage of the capital, the completion of project is being delayed. So that also gets delayed. Problems of unemployment that emerges till the industrial units get repaired or restored. And economy of disaster affect the area also, and that area becomes weaker. And when we talk about the social effects of disaster, see, what are the social effects of disaster? See, at the time when we talk about the people who used to live in the area which are being affected by the disaster, they migrate from that place to another place, and that disturbs the social setup also of that area. As a result, what happened? The charm and the gist of social festivals, celebrations, and all these in that region fades because of migration, and it takes many years to restore the original charm. And see, social organization also become weak due to the changes that have been faced by the social setup. So all these were the different types of effects of disaster that we have grouped into four. That is, effects on relief, effects on human life, effects on economy, and social effects of disaster. And now we will discuss that is about the uh, rehabilitations after the disaster. See, what is the rehabilitation after the disaster occurred? See, when a disaster occur, The first task is what that is to be done of rescuing the people who are being affected, and then comes the task of providing, to provide then some kind of compensation to that people, and lastly then there are rehabilitations, to be very safe and secure, to be in a secure place. See, when disasters like earthquake, flood, or cyclone, they hit with a large amount of building, both private and public, they all everything get destroyed, and all these have to be reconstructed. And also when we talk about the people get unemployed, why? Due to the destruction, hence new employment has to be created after droughts. So people working in agricultural field, so they are being provided with farm implementation etc implements, and see all these thing helps after the drought they can come out. See, when a region is being affected with the viral epidemic, several programs of mass educations and public awareness, they are all being arranged. They are arranged mass see, it is when we talk, when a region is affected with a viral epidemic, when there is a viral infection is there, so several programs of mass education and public awareness are being arranged to take precautions, what precautions should be taken in future and what should be taken in present, that all is being discussed. And see, it is very difficult to rehabilitate a family in case of one or two survivor, especially if the survivor are the children or elderly, so it is very difficult for them. And over and above, when there is retaining physical health, retaining mental balance also affect in a equal important. So such affected people are put under counseling, they have a counseling or physiotherapist to relieve them from mental trauma, phobia, and depression which they face after the disaster. So it is also necessary to provide training to the people who becomes handicapped, so that they can regain all their employment, and all employment has to be raised for them. Thus, when we talk about the rehabilitations work after a disaster is extremely challenging and tedious also. So it can be fulfilled only by what? By a proper planning should be there, and active steps should be taken for collecting efforts. See, all these things should be done: proper planning, active steps, and collective efforts for to have the rehabilitations work that has been done after the disaster, that is very, when we talk it really very challenging. So this was about the rehabilitations after the disaster, what the people faces. I hope you all have understood. Thank you for listening.